What's up, everybody? Jimmy Like Halo back again, and today we're talking about Sonic Adventure 2. Now, in my opinion, I think this is the best Sonic game, and I don't think they've really been able to match how good this one is ever since this one came out. But there's definitely been good ones since, just not quite as good. But, anyways, I'm gonna get into why I like it so much and why I think it's so good. So the reason I think this is the definitive Sonic game, right? When this came out in 2001, the last Sonic game to be on a Sega-made system, the Dreamcast, they had to discontinue it months later of fear of going bankrupt, or they would have if they hadn't. And then they pivoted to releasing their games on other platforms. And this game had a definitive version, Sonic Adventure 2 DX, on the GameCube. Which moves us over to how I played it originally, which was on the GameCube. And I originally got it from this place, once again, called Play and Trade. And I wish it was still around to this day. It was similar to, like, old video game shops, but it also sold newer games because the GameCube was still new at the time. And that's where I got it from. And this is, I believe, the second Sonic game I played after Sonic Adventure 1. And it was in the early 2000s, so this was like peak for me. Everything that was on the GameCube was just the greatest thing ever, and this was one of them. But mainly, if Sega or Sonic Team didn't make a really good Sonic game like this one, and they didn't port it over to consoles, it literally would have been the death of their company. It would have been over. This would have been the last Sonic game, which is like, if that was their mentality when they were making this, I can tell. Because it's the best one. It was almost remedied not that long ago with Sonic Team Sonic Frontiers in 2022, because if that game didn't sell well, it would have been really bad for Sonic Team and Sega for the Sonic franchise. But it ended up doing fine, so everything is good. But it wasn't quite as dire as this situation back in the day, because Sega off is still fine, it was just the Sonic franchise. But anyway, what you're watching right now is footage of the battle mode. Which was in the original, well, actually, I don't think it was. No, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle added the battle mode with characters. It also added the Chow Karate mode, which I'm going to get into later. But the version you're watching is the 360 version running on the Xbox One code path on my Series X. And this version looks really nice. I think this is my preferred way to play it, but before I had this version, I was just playing the GameCube. You can also play it on PC. And there's a bunch of fun mods you can do with that, especially in the Chow Garden, when you can just mod in a Chow that has cracked out stats like level 99 and everything, then, you know, makes it a lot more fun. But the Chow Garden is a side mode that's in this game, in which you can have a Chow, raise them, level them up using things you use, or these batteries and animals you get at the end of every level. The first game had this as well. But this one's more fleshed out, in my opinion. There's more to do. There's 3 different gardens. The heaven, the hell, and the normal grassland. And then there's the kindergarten, where the child's learn, and there's still the store to buy stuff. There's a lot more going on in this game. But I don't know why I'm yapping about the freaking Chow Garden. I love the Chow Garden. But the main way this game works is in the one-player story mode, right? You have your Hero, Dark, and Last Story, right? You don't unlock Last Story, obviously, until the other 2 are done. But when you play through them, it's similar to Sonic Adventure, in which the Sonic stages that are like fast from the first game is what the Sonic and Shadow levels are. The Knuckles and Rouge levels are what you had with Knuckles in Sonic Adventure 1. And then the Tails and Eggman levels are what you had with Gamma in Sonic Adventure 1. That kind of playstyle, third-person shooter, lock-on, score attack type of thing. So they essentially took the best 3 character, like, playthroughs of the first game and made that the whole game. So they took out, you know, the Mr. Big and the Amy ones that were just kind of whatever, and they fully fleshed out the other ones that were good. And, you know, a product of that is you get the best game. Now, instead of having a hub world like Sonic Adventure 1 did, when you go play through the story, it just goes stage to stage, right? So after you play through the levels, you can see this menu of the stage select. And you can just see the icon of what character stage is there. So when you play through these, it just goes Sonic and City Escape, and then you go to Knuckles in the first level over here, Wild Canyon, and then you would go to Tails on Prison Lane, I believe, to break him out of prison. And that's basically how it goes. You usually alternate each of the 3 characters through the levels. Sometimes they'll be like double up Sonic level. It's probably the most amount of Sonic levels. Unfortunately, Shadow only has 4, but that's okay. But anyway, another reason why this game slaps is because the soundtrack is so good. Like, the soundtrack for the first game, I think, is the best in terms of variety. But this second game, in terms of just my favorites, all the Shadow levels are my jam. They sound so good. They just fit his character and his theme of the level so well. Like, I don't think there's been music that has quite matched the impact of a level like this game has. The whole arc of Shadow in this game, I won't go through the whole thing, but the way he reacts to, you know, being released by Eggman and trying to get revenge for what they did to Maria is super enticing, especially when you don't know the story the first time. And when he develops as a character, you end up finding he's not actually evil, and he just cares about saving the humans overall, because that's what he was designed to do. He was never meant to be the destroyer of the earth, what he's trying to do in the story. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. The point is, this game, I think, has the greatest story, the greatest new characters added in the Sonic game, the greatest levels, greatest music. I like every category, I think, is the best in this game, which is why I think it's the best. Now, people keep saying they want them to remake it, which I would agree with, and hopefully they do one day. But nonetheless, I still haven't played the game. You can play it on Xbox and Steam pretty easily, so it's not like it's inaccessible. So that's always good. But anyway, to get on with my point, I basically explained why this is my favorite, and I assume most people think, anyone who's played this Sonic game over other ones would probably agree that this one is the best as well. If not, they'll say the first one, which I can fully agree with as well. Another really good Sonic game. But overall, the 2 Dreamcast games are probably my favorite Sonic games. Some of my favorite games of all time, period, too. I think some of the best 3D platformers as well. But yeah, now I'm going to cut to my physical version of the game, talking a little bit more about it. So here we are, back looking at my cozy little floor with the Sonic Adventure 2 battle cover. So this was the original version I played on the GameCube. I still have it. This cover art I like way more than the first one with the CGI thing. I just think the art of 2D looks way better on a cover than CG ever does. They always tried to do it back in this era for some reason. I don't know why, but most Japanese covers were always like this, so I'm glad they at least kept the that for this version of the game. They basically just added all the playable characters and the Chows, and because this is the battle version, they just talk about the new battle mode and the Chow Karate. And also, the one thing the GameCube has over the other versions, even on modern platforms, is the connection between Sonic Advance 1 and 2 with a Game Boy Advance GameCube link cable. You can transfer Chows between the two, which is really weird and random that that's included. I guess they just like, oh, there's these 2 things here as a feature, I guess why not? And yeah, I still got the manual, even though I don't know what happened to the cover, but it has like the lore, actual useful information. I really miss when games used to have these back in the day. I guess it was just too much effort when you could just look it up on the internet now, but I always loved that and thought it was always cool. But yeah, that's about all I have for this video, and thanks for watching.